I know that some might be like, why is this on the lounge? But it's because we talk about everything at the lounge, and I figured um, what I'll do is probably move this over to BVI pilots as well at some point, and then it'll be there as well. Um, but me and Brandon do a lot of videos over here, and so we're trying to get a little more recognition of that this channel is still up and going. So before we get started, we got Brandon here, our guest as always. Brandon, welcome to the lounge, my friends. It's always good to have you. How are you?
I am doing good. Just getting ready for what I hope. I don't know what it's going to be like for our area tomorrow, but for a solar eclipse.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, we need to talk about that a little bit, maybe at the end.
yeah.
So yeah, um, everybody's getting ready for that. That's a good topic. I didn't even think about that. Um, anyways, so it's good to have you, Brandon. So I got to inform Brandon a little bit about some of the stuff that I want to talk about. Now, before I get started, I want to be very, very precise and very clear that this is not a video to discredit, to discriminate, to throw in the, to throw under the bus to Eurofly 3 because I think that it's a good program. And I really, when you look at Eurofly 2 and you set Eurofly 3 beside it, there's definitely a big difference.
Oh, there's a huge difference.
They made a lot of changes, and I think that it's went really, really well. So from the start, that's what we're going to be talking about is Eurofly 3. But we're also going to be talking about between Eurofly 3 and the Flight Simulator 2020, what are some of the differences and things that some people think don't matter, but it does. Um, and then, last but not least, we're going to touch base a little on those that are new, looking for information, looking for help, trying to make new friends, trying to be sociable. Okay? So we're going to be talking about all that, but neither myself nor Brandon, we're not here to insult anyone. We are here to share our opinion on different situations, but it's our opinion. It's nothing personal to anybody. I'm going to be very clear on that from the start. So, where do we start? Let's look at where Brandon. You remember Eurofly 2?
I very well do remember Eurofly too.
Okay, so give us a rundown. Obviously, not every step by step, but if you was on Eurofly 2, kind of what was the procedure to take off and do a flight?
So it depended on what plane you were in. So I'll give you an example. So if you were just starting out in Eurofly 2 and you were in a small general aviation plane, you would just fuel up, start your engines, adjust your nose to, I believe it was 15 degrees. You had to be precisely at that,
Oh
or
yeah,
a
you're
little
right.
bit
Yep.
above. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you couldn't go very high above,
Had to be
or
exactly at
yeah,
15.
you had to be exactly dead center on 15, or you weren't taking off.
And I think when you hit the arrow down once, that was just 1 degree.
Um, I believe it was. I can't remember. It's been a
That or
while
two,
since
I
I've
can't
flown.
remember. But yeah, yeah,
It was like very little, but
yeah.
point
Okay,
is, yeah,
so
you had to be at that. You had to adjust your flaps, and then you just did your takeoff roll,
right.
and you took off. There was no, okay, we need to taxi via this runway, blah 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 blah. It was just, okay, get up in the air, you're gone.
Well, what was it like when you were flying and you had to fly around different sectors? Was that really complicated? Was it complex?
Honestly, in my opinion, I think it was unnecessary. It was ridiculous, and I remember I was complaining to a few people at the time about it. I said, and this was built on from Eurofly 1. So this was essentially Eurofly 2 was basically Eurofly 1 packaged into a newer
Right.
title.
Right.
And the same stuff that was in the first one was in the second one. And I thought avoiding sectors just because they said, oh, well, avoid Germany because of no reason.
Right. Right.
It was ridiculous. And the plane they made you do things like that in was ridiculous. Like there
Well, I
was
know the
one
weather was
mission.
the weather was really weird too. It wasn't
Yeah,
really accurate.
it was weird.
To the developer of Eurofly, this is not we're not bashing you on it. The reason
No.
I'm doing this is I want to be able to hear in a few minutes. We're going to show you or talk about, not show, give you the example of how it's so much different now. So go ahead, Brandon. Anything else that I think the taxiing was kind of weird.
Yeah, well, especially when you got into the bigger aircraft. So like you would have one central area where you taxied. So you would basically get into one of the jets and it would be like, okay, so you'll go to runway 5B or something. So, and it
Right.
would be very weird because it would be one end or the other of the airport. And sometimes it was really far down, either on the left or the right.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
had to go to it and turn to it.
I remember the other weird thing was, excuse me, was when you was in the air, if you forgot to turn on even your cabin light.
Yes.
Get over here. Can't. No. Sit. Stay. When you would turn on the cab, if you didn't turn on the lights, you're going to get crashed into more likely.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I found it a little weird because you should only need. Who cares if your cabin light's on? It's the outside light,
It's the outside.
strobe light. The strobe light and stuff is what needed to be on, the beacon light and stuff like that. Again, not knocking, not criticizing, just showing you guys these things because there's a difference now.
And I thought the other weird thing as far as that goes, like when you would go into another area, so like if you were going, say, from, well, let's just say Berlin to London, England. So when you would cross into another country or another airspace, it would do this thing like you were entering an air defense zone or an unidentified zone. Please identify. And it would do that for every single place you went through.
How many times did you ever get shot down?
Hundreds of times because
I got shot down
forgot.
so many times, and it's funny, dude, because I'd get so ticked off. I'd be like, "You son of a!" Like I barely went out of the zone for like not even a minute, and these son of a guns. Normally they'd give you so many, like they'd tell you, you're flying in unauthorized airspace, please. I can't remember the word they use, but just telling you, hey, get back on track, pal.
Yeah,
Right?
well, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that you had to identify your aircraft. So it was identify or something. I can't remember how it was, but
I believe they got rid of that.
Yeah, I've heard they did in 3. Yeah, I think they did.
So the one thing that was really frustrating to me, come here.
Don't mind that, folks. He's dealing with a misbehaving
I'm dealing
dog.
with a puppy. He's still a puppy, and he's okay. Here's this. Go get it. Get it. Now I heard him drop something else. I don't know what it was. What'd you drop? Huh? I don't know what you had. I'll know when mommy comes home because it's going to be on the floor. It sounded like a bottle.
That's what I thought.
What did you have? Anyway, as I'm looking for this, come here. Oh, maybe he did have something of his. Okay. He he has a toy box. Literally, our dogs are like kids, y'all. They have toy boxes in the kitchen. They have a toy box in the living room. And they now even have a toy box in my office.
Wow.
Anyway, aha. That's what you was carrying around the freaking box, you dork. Okay, so the refresh. Where was I at? Where was I at?
So you were talking about what the other thing that was frustrating was with
Oh,
Eurofly too.
thing frustrating. Yeah, he's got a bottle. Was the fact of the profile. If you didn't, there was a lot. It was really buggy.
Oh, it
You had
was.
to create an account, but then if you didn't have the right files, it would be really weird, really buggy. Um, there was a lot of things across the board that was just things that we dealt with it. We flew on there and dealt with it. I didn't fly a lot on there, but because after a while it got boring, I guess. Because
It really did. I got bored with it
yeah,
because,
so
especially in the task area, because like it was just the same thing from the first one.
mhm. Now let's jump to Eurofly 3. Now, Brandon, you've not had a chance to actually fly on Eurofly 3 yet, but you will
Yeah.
here this year. You're just waiting on some stuff to
Mm-hmm.
arrive, you and Josh both. And that's going to happen here soon, but things has been absolutely chaos.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, Eurofly 3. The first thing I'm going to point out is if you don't have it, you go to their website, you'll download the beta. It's a beta version. And then, okay, checking on him. You download the beta version and you'll fly that beta, but then as soon as the regular version comes out, no matter where you're at, you could be all the way up to flying the Airbus and you got to start over when the regular version comes out. And I get that it's beta, and I understand why they're doing it that way because would it not be unfair if you got your computer and all of a sudden now you can play the released full version and there's people already ahead because they did all the flying on beta. It wouldn't be fair.
Right. It wouldn't be fair.
So that to me is one of the bonuses. Number two is the profile itself. You can have as many profiles as you want. So if you want three different profiles, then you can have that.
I like
Um,
that.
and then in the beginning, you'll start out and you'll do some training where you've got to either you've got to do 10 flights at the minimum. And the 10 flights has got to equal like six or 700. I don't know if it's considered, they don't do miles, they do kil-
They do kilometers and
kilometers.
meters.
So I think it's 700 meters or kilometers. One of the other, whichever one's the bigger one, which I think would be
I think
meters.
it's no. I think kilometers is bigger.
Okay. So if you did it in miles, it'd be like 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to do that, and then like I said, it's got to equal a certain number. And even if you did 5 flights and you already reached that number, you still got to do 5 more. It's got to be a set number. It's got to be 10 flights done. And then basically you go from the the first plane, which is what was I flying? You remember what it was called? It was
Uh, I think it was the. I can't remember. I don't even know what it was. I think it was. It might have been the Cessna, but I don't know.
I think it was, yeah, because there's two different Cessnas. I think you fly in the beginning. I'm on the third airplane. I'm on the oh my god,
Piper.
yeah, the Piper. Yeah, yep. That's what I'm on now, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Um, so you can create different profiles and you fly. There's different settings you can do. Here's the cool part that they also implemented was if you've got your own. Well, for example, Brandon, when you get your yoke that you're going to be getting,
Uh-huh.
that's all you need to know. But anyway, when you get your yoke, you can use that and you can actually make the buttons do whatever you want on Eurofly 3.
Oh, that is so
And
cool.
then when you go to use it on 2020, the buttons are not changed. They're still set for 2020, but then you got them set different for Eurofly 3. So
nice.
that's one of the things you can do. You can adjust a lot of different settings, and then you can put in your key and get weather information too through the what's that called? That key you got to have. It's just, it's just like that on 2020. If you want weather, you got to go and create a key
Yeah,
to get the weather. I forget what it's called. It's not Bing. It's what is it called?
I can't remember.
I know you know what I'm talking about. You got to
Yeah,
go
I
in
know what. I know exactly what you're
for it.
talking about.
Anyway, you got to create a key. And you guys, if you want to see like a how-to video, let me know. I'm not doing a bunch of tutorials if nobody wants to see them. It takes time. I'm good at doing them, but why do them if nobody wants to see them? So if you
You
want that
know,
information, I'll do it.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because that is one thing I needed to comment on real quick. I've seen some of the tutorials out there, and I'm not knocking the guy for doing this. I applaud him for doing it. But for
They're
somebody like me who's never flown Eurofly 3, um, he could have done a little bit better. Like he was, I get what he was wanting to do, but I think he was trying to do too much at once.
So I think what I'm going to do is, I just haven't done it yet. I'm going to do matching videos. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the same title of videos, but only I'm going to do it. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but Brandon, you know, as much as anybody else, when I do tutorials, I'm very specific, and
Very
I
thorough.
leave out the nonsense and I put in the importance.
Yeah.
Right. Now I understand on some of them videos that they did, it's hard to do that when you're taking off because there's a lot going on. But what I would do and what I'm going to do is, as soon as my tires come up off the ground, I'm going to pause it. That way I can explain to them, okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. You know, the next step that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be bringing my gear up. I'm going to be bringing my flaps in. I'm going to be looking at my direction, and I'm going to wait for directions on how high I need to climb.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know that's a good thing because like I said, when I was watching those videos he did, I was totally lost. I'm like,
yeah,
what am I
and
supposed to
listen,
do?
uh,
Because
yeah, and we're not knocking you for the videos you did by no means. It's just that as a newbie, I mean, honestly, I was confused. I was trying to get specific information, but it just wasn't there, right?
yeah,
Um, like the taxiing, there's a little bit of information about it, but it's confusing, and so I'm going to do videos on that as well. Um, and like I said, if Eurofly wants to use them, they're more than welcome. If nobody wants to use them, that's fine. If nobody wants to watch them, that's fine. If you want to watch them, then do it. If you don't, then shut up. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but I'm not the best at tutorials, but I think that I'm decent at tutorials. I mean, me and Declan did a tutorial for the Code in Dark for PMDG, and I think that tutorial is absolutely amazing.
oh, it's a great
Um,
tutorial.
I've had a few people say that, well, you didn't put this and you didn't put that. Well, we didn't put nonsense. You
Yeah,
leave
and I
out the
think that's the
nonsense,
key. Like, don't put in things that don't need to be there.
right? Right. So anyway, be looking for that, and also be looking for it on BVI pilots as well. I'm probably not going to do tutorials on the lounge, but I like doing videos over here too because I tell people it's for everything, and usually it's very serious topics. And why not do something different, a little bit different? So
Mm-hmm.
let us know if you like, if you want us to do more of these, and me and Brandon will do more of these. I mean, it's up to you guys. Um, okay, so tutorials we kind of got out of the way. We got profiles out of the way. Also, the settings where you can. There's a lot of different settings you can adjust. Some of the settings, I'm not going to lie, some of the settings don't make sense to me. I don't understand them. And some of those on Eurofly 3 will probably criticize that and be like, well, how stupid are you? Listen, you've probably been flying Eurofly since the first version. Okay. Number one, I have not. So if I don't know something, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And I've got a string hook to me from the canopy. You know, the O canopy rather.
Yeah.
We done, Bobby? Um. So hold on, guys. Um. Oh, yep. He had a bottle. That's what he had. Little turd.
I thought so.
Dogs like plastic bottles.
They do.
They do. So anyway, get me back on track here, Brandon. Where was it? Oh, about all the settings. There's settings that I don't understand, and people can call it what they want. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of different settings, and I'm gonna do some videos on that as well. But it's got nothing to do with, well, don't you know anything? Because let me tell you something. I'm not a pro, but I'm good when it comes to flying in MSFS 2020. I'm good at that because number one, Brandon and Josh, they taught me, and then I kind of did a whole kickstart on them and went to flying
Boy,
on
you
that
sure
sim.
did. Dude, I'm telling you right now,
Um,
that was the biggest ultimate get out of your comfort zone I ever got from
yeah,
anybody.
and listen, guys, here's the thing. It is much different on 2020. If you come to 2020 and you're flying, and if you're new at it, you're going to be very confused if you're going to try to fly using Eurofly 3 skills.
Yeah.
Um, Brandon, I want your views on, give us some of the differences that you see with that, with flight simulator, because you've flown on 20.
Yeah.
What are some of the differences that cannot be compared?
Definitely taxiing cannot be compared to that, to Eurofly. Um, just things you do in general, like adjusting your altitudes, your weather, your heading, flying on VATSIM. Like there's just so many things that you just cannot apply Eurofly skills to when it comes to simulator 2020. Like, um, for
Well,
example,
yeah, go ahead.
you're like if you're flying on VATSIM in
Uh-huh.
2020, you can't be like, okay, well, I'm going to do what this does in Eurofly 3 and just turn left or something like that.
Yeah, when
You
you're turning on 2020, you're not turning by, like if you do control right arrow, that's not going to just keep on turning you to the
no,
right. So yeah, guiding your, doing navigation is different in 2020. No, it's not supposed to be the same because Euroflight 3 is a game. MSFS 2020 is a simulator, and yes, I believe that. Oh, what's the guy that runs Euroflight 3? What's his name?
uh, uh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
My gosh, I'll think of
Out,
it. I think he's done an amazing job.
yeah,
I think that Eurofly 3 has came a long ways. People was sitting back waiting and waiting and waiting. And honestly, I think a lot of people didn't believe anything was really coming out because it's
I
been
got to be
so long.
honest. I got to be honest. I was one of those. I didn't believe anything that was coming out either because I kept seeing, oh, Eurofly 3 is coming, coming, coming. And I'm like, yeah, it's
I
2020 something
didn't,
and
yeah,
nothing's happening.
I didn't believe it for the longest time until they're right at the end. I was excited when I found out it was really coming. When Josh told me that, well, Eurofly 3 is out, but it's only in
Beta,
beta, but it's in Russian or whatever the language is they use. It's not Russian.
Slovak. It's Slovak.
Yeah, Slovakia, because there's an airport actually called Slovakia. That's one of the locations, if I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so when it came out, I'm like, well, crap, we can't even fly it yet. We had to wait for him to convert it over to English. And I think that for what he's done an amazing job.
I agree. I haven't
Amazing
even
job.
flown it yet. It is amazing from what I've seen.
Let's talk a little bit about the taxiing. Taxiing is kind of like 2020. So let me give you an example of a taxi. Let's say I'm at runway 3. And then I go in, I ask for an assignment to a runway, and it says you've got 36 right. What I got to do is I got to open up the uh, airport profile. But you got to do shift enter, and that's going to open up, the shift enter. Anyway, shift enter. So I hit that, and that's going to open up the airport information where I'm at. And you arrow down, and you're going to see information about the airports, and you're going to see where it says entrance for 36 left, and then it might say something like Alpha Alpha 100 Delta 350. So what that means is for the first number, that's going to be your X on your XY coordinates. So the number that goes up and down when you're going like north and south on the grid, right? Like the going
Yeah.
up and down, up and down. So you you want to make sure that you're close to that 100 on the X chord and you're close to that 350 on the Y chord. And as you're going down the taxiway, you'll hear it. And then when you get close to the runway, it's going to say, beep, beep, 36 left, beep, beep, 36 left. That's telling you that it's in sight. So what you do is you'll turn to that runway, and the way they did it, it's interesting. So for any of the runways, you add a 0 to the number. So if it's 36, you add a 0. That's 360 degrees, which is the same as 0 degrees for north. You turn to that and then request entrance to the runway. It'll let you, um, and then you take off. Some of the taxiing can be tricky because I've seen it with up to three different numbers, like
Yep.
Alpha, Romeo, Sierra. I don't understand those as much. I'm not going to tell you guys much on it because I don't want to confuse nobody. Because listen, I'm still learning it. Okay,
Yep.
so taxiing is a little tricky, but it's fun because it's not just something real simple where it just makes it boring. If it's too easy, it's boring.
And that's what Eurofly 2 was to me. It was so boring because it was too easy.
Right. See, with this one, when you're coming in the land, as you're coming in the airport, you've got waypoints, and you got it. Let's say that they assign you runway 6. Well, you go to your waypoints, and when you see 6, you're going to see 6, 6. You're going to see A runway 6, B runway 6. So what you do, which would make sense, you would go down to B, set that into your coordinates because you're coming to the airport. So you would go to the B waypoint first because you're coming up or coming in. And then once you get to that waypoint, you open your waypoint again, go to A, set your destination, go to that one, and now you're set for coming in for your landing. And so I think it's cool the way they did that with waypoints. But let me tell you, landing can be tricky because if you don't know the terrain, you might try to come down to 1,000 feet, but something be 2,000 feet, and boom, you're done.
Yeah.
So that's where it brings me to talk about something that is to someone new, and I'm new, and I don't care what anybody says. You can call it what you want. There are, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 different hotkeys that give altitude information. Above ground, altitude, then comma and period gives you period gives you above ground altitude. Comma gives you, like, if you're, it'll tell you the safe altitude for the area that you're in, for that airport that you're actually near. Not the airport you're flying to, but where you're currently at.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have comma, semicolon. You hit that, it's going to tell you if there's anything ahead of you that's higher than what you are. That's important. Shift semicolon will tell you what's below you at a lower altitude by whatever number. So, like, by default, it's set to 300 feet below you. So anything that's 300 feet or lower, it'll give you the information saying, okay, you're at 2,000, but when you hit that button, it might say, uh, you know, Slovakia, um, one, Slovakia 4.1 miles or kilometers, whatever. It'll say like 4.1, then it'll say like 1,400 feet, which is telling you that in 4 miles, the altitude drops down to 1,400 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Landing can be tricky, you guys. I still don't have it down pat because I get confused on when, like, which number is best to go by when landing. Because you can't just hit altitude and go by that number because if you don't know what's around you, you might come down too low and boom. I'm thinking control semicolon's the best one because it gives you anything that's above you.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful because there might be something below you by 200 feet. If you don't know it, boom, you're done. So be careful with that. I was asking somebody about the keys last night, and the person, they're like, oh, this is frustrating. You know how many times I've been asked this question? Listen, dude, who cares? When somebody's new, who cares? If you're on there and somebody asks you a question, even if you've been asked 1,000 times, it's not that bad to help somebody. I
You
don't
know,
see why the big fuss. And you got other like, yeah, I know, tell me about it. They're just numbers. No, it's more than just numbers. You're talking about people that don't know every little thing that's supposed to be known on there. But
and I'm going to be honest. I get really sick and tired of people in our community acting like they're better than everybody else when it comes to that, especially for new beginners
well, and I
who
think
are,
some of these are people that's not even in the BVI pilot part. They
yeah.
fly on Eurofly 3. Well, I got news for you. Come over to MS 2020 and do a flight. If you've never done one, come on over and fly the PMDG 737-900 ER or
Yep.
777 or the 74. Brandon can tell you I can fly any of them planes and I can take off and I can get where I need to be and I can land. I mean, I've done things. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying that I'm well more skilled in the simming community than I am the Eurofly community because
I got news for all those Eurofly people. If they try and do that in 2020 and they try to fly that plane, they're going to be in for a rude awakening because you can't apply Eurofly skills
no,
to that
you
plane.
cannot, not with altitude numbers. Like, for example, if you hit A, that will give you the above sea level altitude. And then what was the one for above ground altitude?
G.
G. So you have A and G. That's the only two numbers that you have, and that's the only two numbers that you need. There's no reason to have another key that gives you just a terrain altitude because you can get that same information with the above ground.
Yeah, you get all that in two keystrokes.
For example, if we're flying, let's say we're flying from Indianapolis and we go to fly over Chance. Get in here. Let's say that we go and fly over the Great Lakes up in Michigan. Well, it's not just going to say, you might be flying uh, above the ground with no water yet, and it's going to tell you, okay, you are, 25,000 feet above ground. Well, then as soon as you get to the lake, you're going to see that number change, and usually it'll put a negative number.
Yeah, it's going to be negative.
Yep. It might say, let's say normally use at 25,000. Now you're over the lake. That is 10,000 deep. So it's going to say minus 35,000. That's
I'll give you a good
because.
example of that. Coming into Boston, when you come into Boston for landing, you're coming in over the water. So
Yeah,
I
did I
check,
explain that right, Brendan? Isn't that what it does? It gives you a minus number.
yes. So, like, if you're flying over water, like if you're coming into land at some place like Boston, you're coming in over the ocean there. So when you go to check, when you're further down before you land on the runway, sometimes it'll say a negative number, and that means you're over the water.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And me and Brandon and Declan and a lot of people have had a lot of people come to us asking. Tell you in the BVI community is we never jump down somebody's throat for asking information. Now, there there is a limit. If Brandon tells you how to power up your airplane 10 times and you go and ask him again, I think it would be okay to say, look, man, I don't mind helping you, but I've been telling you how to do this for a while now. Is there anything that I can do to help you better understand? And then you don't take offense to it.
I actually had that happen to me, believe it or not. On you remember when we were all flying on Discord and we had somebody that I think, matter of fact, Josh and I were trying to show him how to do something, and he got very defensive when we showed him like several times, and then we're like, "Hey, man, you're doing this wrong. We've showed you how to do this," and we weren't being mean to the guy. We were just pointing out that he was doing something wrong because he couldn't understand why he couldn't get his flight plan to work in a
Right.
program. And we're like, "Hey, you didn't do this or this," and he's like, "Yes, I did." Like, he would argue with us.
You want to come out? Right.
And I finally told him, I said, "Look, man, I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't know if this is the right hobby for you, because
Yeah.
you obviously are not understanding what we're trying to teach you."
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Mojo, stop. What happens when you got a 100-pound dog that think they can walk you? No. Stop. Stop. Stay. Hold on 1 second, guys. I gotta hook this big boy up. Um, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with helping somebody, and even if it gets aggravating, there's been times when I've had to help somebody more than once, and I did. Even being aggravated, I didn't say nothing. I just went ahead and helped them.
Yeah.
We're all learning. You know, um, even in FS 2020, I'm not a pro. I think that I'm pretty good at it, and for the most part, don't have any problems. But I don't treat somebody like a dog just because they don't know how to do something. So listen, guys, those of you on Eurofly 3, don't be so nasty to somebody because they ask a question. Because the only reason that you're understanding it probably is because you've been on Eurofly for a long time. Yes, it's different, but you still have the previous skill of being on Eurofly 3. Take it easy on new people.
Yeah, or people that
Don't
haven't been on there in a while, like me.
yeah,
I
don't
haven't
don't
flown since
such a
Eurofly 2.
don't be a hard person about it, man. Like these people are there to have fun. And someone said, "Well, why are you? Why does it matter to you? Was you one? Yeah, I was one of them." And somebody was kind of nasty about it. Did it hurt my feelings? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Trust me, it definitely did not. But it made me a little angry because I'm thinking, man, what if it's some of these other new people that's just getting into it and they ask a question like that, I can't even imagine what's going to be said to them.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. It's all for fun. Every bit of it. The simming, the MSFS 2020, the Eurofly 3, the train simulator, all this stuff is for fun. And we're supposed to be joining together, making new friends, making laughs, having conversation, and just doing what we enjoy. But don't be such a hardball on the
You know,
newbies.
just like for people being mean and angry to the new people would be like me, going into church on a Sunday or a Wednesday and we got somebody new in church and, they come up to me and go, well, I don't understand what's the purpose of the church. Like, what do you guys do? And then I'm just like, well, shouldn't you know? You should have figured it out before you came. Like, I would never do that.
Right.
Like that's uncalled for.
It's just not the way to be to somebody. I mean, come on, be cordial, be respectful, because you know what? Everybody learns a little differently, and I still look. You can laugh all you want, you can joke, you can point your finger, you can say whatever you want. I still don't fully understand all the different numbers. And listen, I know what above ground altitude is, and I know what above sea level is.
Yeah.
That's the only two numbers that you go by when you're in the cockpit. So when you got these extra numbers in there, yes, it takes me a little bit more to understand, because look, we want the key that tells us what is the accurate altitude that you're at, and how low or how high do I need to be.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, don't be a hardhead.
Exactly.
To the newbies, just be patient, you guys. You're going to have people that's going to be, but I don't know. You'll get through it. Um, Brandon, you got anything else that you want to?
I don't have anything on that topic as of right now. Anything else to cover on it? No.
Here's what I'll leave it with before I hang my dog. I'm not really hanging my dog either. I think when they get through the beta and they fix all the bugs, when they get through the beta and they fix all the bugs, it's like a tongue twister. When they get through the beta and they fix all the bugs and everything will be good.
Yeah.
It will be, though. It'll be a good program, and people will enjoy it. Someone was asking me, and I don't know anything about this, or I would help you, about Tubi or Tube Simulator.
Oh, Tube Sim.
Tell us a little bit about that, Brandon.
So Tube
Come on.
Tube Sim was basically a simulator that simulates driving a subway on the what's called the London Underground or the London subway system.
Okay. But
I haven't played it in a while, so I don't know much about since they've released new versions of it. I don't know some of the newer stuff.
a lot of business stuff into it now.
Huh?
That it's based on like running your own business.
Yeah, they must have done some really interesting things in it because when I last played, it was learn how to drive one of these trains, but then you're just driving the subway system with no clear cut goal of what you should really do besides pick up passengers.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's all you did when I played.
How did you know when to stop?
Oh, they had audible cues to know when you stopped.
So this was called Tube Sim or Tubi?
It's called Tube Sim.
Like TUBE or TOOB?
TUBE Sim, yes.
Okay. I'll have to check that out because somebody was asking me about it. I don't know anything about it. But obviously, me and Brandon and others in the BBI, we love checking out new stuff. So we'll check it out. We'll see if it's been updated.
Yeah,
Is there
I'm
any
curious
changes
to
to
know.
it?
Like when I get my stuff, I might go and check it out and see if it's been updated since I played it.
Now, someone told me a rumor, and I don't know how true this is, that Tank Commander is going to have a new upgraded version.
Oh, now that would be interesting if it did. I
GMA
actually
Tank
like
Commander.
Tank Commander.
I did too. I like. Remember when you go across the bridge?
Oh yeah, I collapsed.
Boom!
Yep.
You can still download the game. They still got a website.
Oh yeah.
Um, let me cover one more thing that was brought up, and I think I know what you're referring to, Patrick. There was another game where you flew an airplane and you had missions, but you wasn't in
Yeah.
a regular airplane using a fighter.
Yeah, it was called 3D Velocity.
Yes, and now you don't even got to pay for it. Just so you know, you can download it for free, and I believe there's even some mods and stuff with it.
Well, when I get my stuff, I'm definitely downloading it because I never got to experience that game fully.
I never got to experience getting to the island. That was the
People
last part
said
of the
getting
mission.
to that island was really hard to do
You
because
got to
there were.
watch it because you get shot at on the way, and if you don't got your aiming and stuff down, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because apparently you have batteries that shoot at you along the way, and you got ships
yeah,
and things like that.
yeah. So, anyways, we will do more of these videos on different games too. I think it's a good way to put other games out there, even some old school stuff. I mean, I'm talking,
I
guys,
love
I
gaming.
play some games. I still play the golf games from GMA, or not GMA, but from
Kitchen?
you know, me and him was good friends. Jim Kitchen.
I talked to him once. I remember I called him on the phone one time.
He was a good guy.
He was.
He had a really he had a dirty sense of humor sometimes, but I mean you'll learn that by playing his games. And
Well, and
somebody you can download a whole thing that like all his games in one where they made it where they're still able to be played. And
yep.
he's got knock it off. Where you can play different things. Trip. I forget what it's called. Come here. You want to go in? So
I'm sorry that he
anyway,
passed away as his games were getting really good. I was wanting him to finish that adult one that he was working on.
which one?
Dungeon Master.
Oh yeah.
I really was hoping he would finish that one. I enjoyed that game.
Hold on, Mojo. I'll get you next, Bubba. Yeah, that would have been a good game to release. I wish nothing would have never happened to him.
I know.
Hold on, guys. You gotta fix this door. Come on. He was a nice guy.
I actually enjoyed talking to him.
His program was very basic, but he did a good job with all his games. I mean, if people didn't really know, Jim Kitchen, the golf game became very, very popular.
Oh, it did.
I remember being a member of For the People.
Yep.
And they would have tournaments. Well, For the People did a lot of stuff. They we'll talk about that another time.
R.I.P. to that service.
I agree with, but some weird stuff that went on For the People. Like they made thousands of dollars off of people over silly stuff, like when they would do auctions for your name on For the People.
Yeah.
Buy your nickname, and then you had to go by that name. for like a month. And For the People made a lot of money. I mean, a lot.
I'll tell you another really good developer who I really wish was still around. Debbie Scales.
Who?
Debbie Scales. She used to run what the heck was that website? It was some you could get things from it for Jaws and stuff like that, and it was really popular.
It was a game called Debbie Scales?
No. There was a lady named Debbie Scales who developed, and she had a website, and I can't remember the name of the freaking website. Josh would know.
What kind of game was it?
There was no game. It was actual programs and scripts for Jaws.
Oh, yeah. Debbie. Where are you going, bub? Hold on. Come on. Yeah, I don't know her last name, but I remember there used to be a site, something called like programmers.com or something of that
I
effect.
can't remember the website, but it was really popular back in the day.
Yeah. So, all right. So, we made it for 51 minutes, and I think we've talked about everything to do with flight simming, everything to do with Eurofly 3.
Yep.
We would love to have, if you guys have questions or you'd like us to do another video, let us know what you thought about the video. Like I said, we're not out to degrade anybody, not out to say Eurofly 3 is no good, because I'd be lying if I said that. Eurofly 3 is good. So, just, I guess, overall, if you're on Eurofly 3, be nice to people, man. Don't be so mean.
Yeah, don't be mean to
I mean, the mailing list is absolutely asinine with the way that people talk on there.
I'm glad I'm not on that list because I would lose my temper real quick.
Well, I now get the messages in a digest. So I get one email, and it just shows what the topics are. And if I want to read one, I can go read it, and I don't got to read all that stuff.
Yeah.
But come on, guys. I'm not saying people should get along just because we're all visually impaired or blind. But why not?
Why not try and make an effort to get along?
Why can't it be an environment where all of us get along, and sometimes we come across someone that we think's a little loopy? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, life is too short to be this way.
And if you don't like someone,
to worry about, oh no, Brandon's going to get more tomorrow. Brandon's going to get a more expensive TV than me. So now I need to go get one. Now I'm going to treat him like crap because he thinks he's better than me. Come on, you guys. That's not the way it needs to be. Go ahead, Brandon.
And it's so funny because I've had people literally say things like, oh, I don't like you, or I've heard people don't like you, and did it. And I'm like, do you think I really care about who likes me or who doesn't? Listen, if I'm not liked by somebody, I'm not liked by somebody. I don't care. I don't live my life based on, oh, who likes me or who doesn't. I am who I am.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to fight.
And I've literally had people tell me when they have met me, they've said, because they've heard things about me online, and I've had people literally tell me, oh, you're not the same as I've been hearing about online. I said, of course I'm not.
And this goes for anybody. I have always done what I could to help other people in the community. And I expect nothing from it. But that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Help each other, have fun, share technology, make technology, and make new friends.
Yep.
Yes, I get it. There's some people in the community that we might come across that is as dense as a freaking screen door. But who cares? They're just human.
Exactly.
I'm going to hang this other dog named Willow by her ears. But anyway, Brandon, thanks for joining us tonight. For everybody else,
Glad to
if
be
there's
here.
a topic you would like us to cover, if you'd like us to do round 2 of Eurofly 3, we'd be glad to do that. But we need something to go on.
Yep.
Because I don't want to cover the same stuff twice. But you might have more stuff, maybe another topic that goes in there that we should have talked about and we didn't. So if you've got that, let us know. Leave your comments down below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the lounge. You're welcome here as well. And also be sure to subscribe to BBI Pilots.
Oh, and I got one more thing. If you're fortunate enough, and I don't think I'm going to be, unfortunately, because of our weather, to get out and enjoy the eclipse tomorrow, definitely do it.
Do it, but be safe.
Be safe about it.
Some areas are absolutely going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I can go right down the road, guys. I'm in the country. Okay, let me explain something to you. Let me show you all something. I'm in the country. Okay, this stupid door is going to be in the city when I throw it all the way back to town. Okay. I know it's dark. It's okay. This is all country. Look at this. Look. Country, 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 country. Okay? I'm in the country. And down at the end of our road, there is a church. So it's only about a quarter mile.
Mm-hmm.
There are campers parked at the church, set up. People are camping.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
In the campers, there's a Dollar General. And it's funny because if people try to go there and park, oh boy, they're not going to like the outcome.
Yep.
Because, look, go somewhere where you're actually supposed to camp with your campers. Don't go to dollar stores and stuff. Like, Walmart will let you because they let truck drivers park in their big parking lots. But there are several campers at Walmart.
Yeah.
They say, before we go, they say that it's going to be so crowded to go from Scottsburg, Indiana to Louisville, which is normally a 30-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, it would end up being a 3 to 4.5 hour drive.
Holy moly!
Because of the people.
I wouldn't be surprised if getting from my area to Austin would be the same way.
So all I can say, I hope you guys got some pogo sticks, maybe a broom. Maybe get a hold of the Wicked Witch of the West on Wizard of Oz. Tell that witch to loan a broom because you're going to need a ride. Just say it. All right. Anyways, be safe tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day for some people. Don't do nothing stupid.
Yeah.
Have fun. And by the way, even if you're visually impaired and you got low vision, I was joking today. I told somebody, yeah, well, it don't matter if you look up at the sun. When you're blind, it ain't going to matter. Yeah, it does.
Funny enough, funny you mentioned that because
Don't
my mom said the exact same thing to me earlier.
Don't do it. Okay? Visually impaired, completely blind, a little blind, totally blind. It don't matter. Don't look up at the sun when this is going on because I'm telling you, it will burn your retina.
Yep.
It'll fry it. They say it's that strong. So if you guys want to see a demonstration, tune in tomorrow because I'm burning both of mine. I'm out of here. I'm going to go from low vision to no vision as going the solar eclipse. Wow, 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 wow.
And for those leaving after the eclipse here in this state of
Brandon's
Texas,
going to join me.
yeah, well, for those leaving our state in Texas after the eclipse, we unfortunately are going to have some severe storms to deal with. So, man,
Hey, Brandon,
yeah,
turn on your weather radio.
I don't have a weather radio,
Okay, well,
but I do have a phone app. I have the Weather Channel app.
there you go. I've got that carrot weather, which is pretty good.
Yeah, carrot weather is good.
It's really accurate. Like if you get a lightning strike a mile away, it'll tell you right where it was.
Yep.
So, anyways, guys, I had a really good time tonight talking about this.
I did too.
I don't know what the schedule is going to be like. What I'd like to do is try to do a after the eclipse live stream tomorrow night, same time. And just see how things went. See how it went with Brandon.
Yep.
See how it went with me. And then I think we got some other topics we might throw in there and talk about. It's not going to be Eurofly. Okay. So be respectful, guys. Make new friends in the BVI community. Have fun. Don't insult people. Life is too short for that. And God don't like that stuff. Jesus doesn't like it when we hurt other people or hurt their feelings. You know? So.
Exactly.
Anyways, guys. That's all I got. To Randy Ruffland, I have seen Left Behind, by the way. That was a question that I was asked, and I have seen the whole thing.
I love that series.
I can watch that series over and over and over. Now, you asked me where can you get it? I don't know, my friend. I don't know.
Actually, I'm glad you did bring that up because I found a playlist with all 12 radio dramas of it on YouTube.
There you go. Look up Left Behind on YouTube. There should be 12 of them. They're usually about an hour long. It's really good. Now I don't know if there's anything on YouTube with the one that came after that.
No, they never published, unfortunately, the prequel to that.
I thought
Because
the second one.
No, they didn't because they ran out of money and funding.
That's too bad. It was really good.
I wish they had published.
Man, that guy went through all kinds of stuff, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Rayford still went through all kinds of stuff. But he did. Man, they did such a good job. So, all right, guys. I'll tell you what. I'm going to plug in my phone. That's the big dog barking out the door. Good thing no one's at my door because it's just a screen door and I've got a 110-pound pit over there that would go through that door like paper. So, anyways, Brandon, I'll probably call you.
All right.
For everybody else, I hope y'all have a good night. Stay safe. God bless everybody out there. I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate the views. And, if you're having a bad day, I just want to remind you, I'm not going to go in the whole Christian thing, but hopefully you're a believer in God. And if you are, sometimes you just got to stop and pray to God and Jesus to get you through it every time. So God bless you all. Have a good night. Brent, I'll be in touch. Don't forget to subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you set your notifications to always so you're notified each and every single time that we go live. So, till next time, we'll see you guys. See you, Brandon.
See you later.